Thank you, Joyce. In the meantime, let's move over to our second rejuvenated model for this week. From American Motors' Gallic partner, it's the Renault SportWagon. You've probably seen it before, back when it was called the 18i wagon. When American Motors started making the Alliance sedans and Encore hatchbacks over here, they didn't need the imported 18i sedans anymore. But they couldn't let the entire 18i lineup go, or AMC Renault wouldn't have any small wagons to sell, and that's an important U.S. market. So what to do? Well, it was easy. They simply reintroduced the 18i wagon alone, and they've called it the Renault SportWagon. But there's a lot more that's new here besides the name. The biggest change for the Renault SportWagon over the old 18i wagon is also right here, under the hood. Gone is the anemic 1.6-liter 81 horsepower engine. In its stead is a 2.2-liter inline four-cylinder with 99 horsepower and a much stronger power range for normal driving. Unlike most front-drive cars, the Renault SportWagon has the engine mounted lengthwise rather than transverse. But with so much more motor stuffed into a fixed-size bay, something had to give. And that was service accessibility to the drive belts. They're crammed up against the radiator and will be hard for owners to check. However, with the removal of this splash pan, they can be serviced from underneath by a mechanic. That looks like just about the only real service problem. The right side of the fuel-injected motor is extremely clean with the oil filter changeable from up top. On the left, despite a busy appearance, plugs are easy to reach, as are all other normal checkpoints. So all in all, we give Renault good marks in packaging. Inside, all of your packages should fit better than in most wagons with only a short 96-inch wheelbase. Fold down the rear seat and a flat, tall, slightly narrow cargo space awaits. Total utility volume is rated at over 65 cubic feet. We like the rear seat release latch handle that is located in the center of the backrest, rather than hidden on the sides as is typical in a wagon. Up front, the interior is similar to the old car, except it now includes new reclining bucket seats, much like those found on the sportier Fuego hatchback. While the back cushion offers excellent support and comfort, some found the bottom too flat and flabby. Leather interior is standard on this $11,330 Touring Edition, as are most normal options, including air conditioning. Even the $9,600 base model comes well equipped with a very sturdy roof rack. Instrumentation is again standard Renault, including the unique oil level indicator. However, most engine functions are only monitored with warning lights. One oddball fault on our car was the placement of the automatic door lock switch. It's partially hidden under the lower part of the dash and hard to operate. Transmissions include a standard 5-speed manual and this optional 3-speed automatic. In fact, the Renault SportWagon is a most pleasant car to drive, if not one to move the hot rodder's heart. 0 to 60 in 15 seconds. That's barely in our acceptable range, but it feels much quicker because all of its 109 pounds of torque are available at a low 2,500 RPM. Passing is also within our reasonable range for a passenger car, 5.8 seconds from 40 to 55. Downshifts are crisp without the lag between the gears so typical of front-drive automatics. As for handling, well, being French-made means soft springs and a lot of body roll. Even in slow maneuvers, the suspension has a great deal of trouble keeping up. We call it the pendulum effect, as the light rear end becomes more and more unmanageable with each turn. It sure makes you wonder about the sport in the SportWagon's name. But on the other hand, you'll be hard-pressed to find any small unibody wagon that gives a smoother, more comfortable highway ride. And for most families, that's far more important than pylon racing. But all sport wagons do come equipped with TRX performance tires. Motor Week viewers know that in hard braking, these tires have a tendency to float on particles of powdered tread. Once again, they behave true to form. But despite some premature front lockup, stops were straight with little fade, and averaged a good 130 feet from 55 miles per hour. Other factors that also rated just fine, if not outstanding, include the SportWagon's turning diameter of 36 feet, again on par or better than most similar front-drive models. The 2,650-pound SportWagon also carries fairly economical fuel ratings of 22 city and 31 highway for the automatic. Our test loop of 27 was right on target. So with so many of our statistical findings in the average or just acceptable category, we were curious to see how the Renault SportWagon struck our crew on a more individual basis.
One thing I don't like about the Renault SportWagon is the lack of headroom, but one thing I really enjoy is driving down the road on a long trip is like being in an easy chair.
SportWagon is a bit of a misnomer. The suspension of this car has more rolls to it than an all-night bakery, but it holds lots of cargo and it's got a very comfortable ride, so as a station wagon, it's really terrific.
Overall, then, the reincarnated Renault SportWagon is a most practical model with more and improved features that should stand up well against its competition. It benefits greatly from the stronger engine, even if the handling and style are a little too soft for us. But it will find its niche and should serve its owners well. Next time, another station wagon will pay us a visit. From General Motors is